Again, I'm going to focus on a very simple fact. If you have an organization, does your organization have any ethical standards or not? And if they do we enforce them? About Rappaport, I took a decision a few weeks ago that we are not going to allow any diamonds to be listed on RapNet that are sourced. I'm using the word source. I'm not using the word, what's it?
Origin.
Origin. Because origin is what I would call a misleading term in terms of how people are seeing it, but source diamonds. We will not list any of them on RapNet. We've warned the people who are now importing those goods from Russia all kinds of ways. Do not list that polished on RapNet. Do not offer it for sale. If we find out that you have, we will then publish your name and we will expel you from RapNet. So I think that we're going to take that ethical position, even though it's 30% of the goods in the market, even though it's going to hurt our customers, because at some level we're willing to say that business is not as important as other human rights issues. Now, I'm not saying everybody's got to take that position, and that's fine. But I'm taking that position with RapNet, which shows you we're a private, non-trade organization has the ability to have impact that trade organizations cannot do because they're not allowed to do certain ethical things, supposedly. Okay? Now, that issue is good. Look, I'm not against trade organizations. Now, you got to understand something. If the Kimberly process simply came along and said, I'm so sorry, we can't deal with human rights because when the Kimberly, and I was there, so I was part of that compromise, that the Kimberly process could not deal with human rights issues because it's a sovereignty issue of various nations, and because the World Trade Organization would not give you a waiver, okay, on human rights. Okay, I understand that, but we had a war going on, and we saved human lives. Now, when I look at the Kimberly process, they don't just say we don't solve the problem. They certify the stuff. They actually go out of their way and they legitimize the illegitimate. And then they pour it into our distribution system. So in my view, you're basing yourself, if you say on your 4 levels, and I'm happy to discuss the 4 levels, and I think that you can take that position as the RJC and say, this is what we're doing. And that's fine, God bless you, okay? However, supporting an organization that certifies blood diamonds, certifies now the Russian diamonds, puts them into our distribution system, in my view, that's where you're crossing the red line. Now, you're doing great work with RJC, you're coming up with all kinds of guidelines, okay? But you're not solving the problem of what we should do about blood diamonds. You're not. And if we didn't solve it, I'd say, okay, you're making it worse. You're certifying them. If we were shooting jewelers in LA, and we came up with an agreement with the governor of California that there's a lot of, I don't know, disenfranchised people in the world and they should be allowed to steal jewelry because jewelry isn't a life necessity. So, you know, it's legal. I guess people would maybe buy it. But my point is, can we, as an industry, find certain ethical things that we can hang on to? And if not, trade organizations, and I'm not against trade organizations. I think it would be great if the RJC suspended members who dealt in Russian diamonds. And even if I said to you, we asked another question, we said, hey, what about US sanctioned diamonds directly? The diamonds were actually cut in Russia. Okay. And I'm not against Al Rose, I think they did a lot of great stuff too. And it's very unfortunate. But we have these problems, these ethical problems that on one hand, we want to keep workers working in Surat. On one hand, we also want to take care of our Russian friends who are legitimately trying to do better work. It's not their fault Putin starts a war maybe. But the bottom line is, do we have any red lines? And what are those red lines? And can we have ethical red lines? And I don't mind if RJC or if IDMA comes up and says, listen guys, we're a trade organization. We have our limitations. That's it, we're fine. But where do you get off telling the world, don't worry, it's a non-conflict diamond? And you know, we've gotten better at this, but even now, some 24% of people have said that they don't know, that they think more. 40%, I'll show you the survey, they said, and this is the trade, saying, oh, if it's non-conflict, it's okay, no human rights abuses. So, I'm not against anyone, really. I'm saying for us to get a solution, I think it's important that we stop certifying blood diamonds as legitimate. And I think that it's not a crazy thing, okay? So let the governments, let the Kimberly process do whatever it can do that's good. But don't come to us as a trade, and we should back you up when you're certifying blood diamonds, and we should say, Kimberly process is okay. The Kimberly process, in my view, has blood on its hands. It's the mother of evil. It's certifying blood diamonds. So we have to, and that's to me a red line. And I say, listen, I'm a member of the jewelry trade. I don't support the World Diamond Council. I don't support the Kimberly process. I think that they should be held accountable. I think the United States government should withdraw from the Kimberly process. Enough is enough. And again, that's my view. I could be wrong. But let's hear from other people. I'm extreme, maybe, okay? But I'm not apologizing for I spent 4 years of my life building the KP, but I'm not apologizing for being 100% against the KP and anyone that supports the KP, because I'm against anyone that would certify a blood diamond and tell us that it's okay. It's, and if we did have power as the trade in the Kimberly process as observers, we would say to the KP, we're out of here. Just like a lot of NGOs that have done that, okay? They've walked out, Global Witness, Partners Pact, Partners Africa, they all said goodbye. I said goodbye. I fasted for 3 days. So all I'm saying is that if we forgot about KP for a minute, what can we do? What can we do? Yeah, go ahead. Do you want to say something?
And I think that's what everybody in the room, including online here, would like to hear. So what's the alternative? If you remove yourself from the KP, what's your alternative? What do we do then? And what stops? Right now, we can track the flow of rough.
Yeah.
We can track it, and we have a good idea. And like anything else where we have troubles with gun control or any other, it's a small part now. It happens. It's awful. It breaks all our hearts. But what's the alternative? I think we've done as an industry, and I obviously know that you were there at the KP, you were there when the WDC was formed in Antwerp. We were all together. The industry stood up together. And the industry now is working together with governments, civil society, and hoping that we can stop this conflict, whatever conflicts are out there. And you're pointing to Moringa as being, and I use your words as much as it kind of hurts me at the moment, but you've even said this to me, there's actual blood. Where's the actual blood? Zimbabwe is going through a review mission at the moment for the Kimberly process. Kimberly process, excuse me. My head, sorry folks. For the Kimberly process. What we know up until now, they just had the review mission. We won't know until the findings come out, but through colleagues. They did well on their review mission. We'll know exactly. So now, obviously you must have knowledge on the ground there. And yes, I've read this, and I brought this. Here's the WDC's position, the United States Jewelry Council's position that we've all signed on. But if you want to make change, but don't agree, and everybody, I told you, everybody's entitled to their opinions. But what does that change? What does that change? Mike, help us out.
Okay.
What do you see?
I will do that. What's going to happen over here is that we're not going to trust review missions of Zimbabwe. When we have pictures of people with holes in them, we're not going to buy any more. And they said, please don't curse Mr. Rappaport. Poppycock. Okay? We're not going to eat any more bullshit, to put it that way. So what we're going to do is create a second part of this diamond industry that is capable of monitoring the source of diamonds. And we have here Tracer, and we have here, I forgot the name.
Everledger.
And Everledger, and all kinds of other people that are going to trace the hell out of diamonds. And we're going to split the market, bifurcate it, split it like the Red Sea, so that those people who have diamonds from known sources will be able to fly their flag real high and make sure that consumers understand that they have legitimate diamonds. Those people that have, in my view, illegitimate diamonds, even if they bring them through various countries with Kimberly process certificates, they should be kicked to the gutter. I think I'm using a phrase that someone from De Beers used, in Kimberly. Okay? And those diamonds that are unknown start to become more known as to what's going on with them, where they're coming from. So in other words, there was an idea of the World Diamond Council, I think, that was, oh, we all have to be in this together, we all have to support each other, we have to run in a way that the Kimberly process runs with unanimity of stuff. It's obvious. Kimberly process is never going to change the definition of conflict diamonds. And you may think they can, okay, do it. You've had how many years, 20 years now, 10, 15, 18 years? You know, but I think that if you keep coming back with this, oh, we had a review mission that said it's okay. Here's pictures of people holes in them. These are not lies. We send people out to actually get those pictures. Here's testimony from the NGOs that know what's going on.
And you think we should divest?
Yeah,
I disagree.
fine. So you're entitled to your opinion, okay? And you can dance with whoever you want to.
It's not about dancing. Who's going to voice the position of the industry? Who's going to defend the industry if the WTC pulls out?
Well, let me explain it to you. Diamond industry is an industry, and it's a lot of power because of how we spend our money. What's going on with the Kimberly process and the World Diamond Council is absurd because the power of the industry exists in what we buy and what we don't buy. Telling people to buy diamonds involved in human rights abuses for making governments happy. The governments aren't on our agenda. Governments aren't involved in concerns about human rights abuses, especially if they aren't killing their own people. But no, I'm sorry. We as human beings who buy a product, whether it's diamonds or it's undershirts from China somewhere, or whether it's, I don't know, other textiles from factory buildings that fall down and kill thousands or hundreds of people, we have an obligation, how do we spend our money, and to make sure we're giving it to the right place. And the World Diamond Council and the Kimberly process has no right to tell us what we should and which we shouldn't buy. And they certainly have no right to legitimize. In other words, you've gone beyond the pale. You've gone beyond the pale. I guess I could call up, I don't know, some crazy scenario where someone, I go to the prison and ask the people, hey, can you guys figure out what we should do about crime and stuff? But the bottom line here is, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. No one's going to buy this story anymore. You had a very good good mission to Zimbabwe, you did? Okay, fine. Let's ask the question. Where'd your diamonds come from? Where are those diamonds being sold from, Miranda? Who's buying them? We don't know. We know. We should know. Are we stopping them?